a recently concluded study of a 73-year-old gentleman who is a diabetic for last 2 decades. He presented in 2019 with breathlessness on exertion, which had progressively increased and had gone to NYHA class 3. On investigation, I'll be speaking about the relevant ones, of course. The echocardiogram showed a bicuspid aortic valve with severe aortic stenosis. Eventually, he was operated on and he received a bioprosthetic valve. Right now, he's come for a routine examination. So this bioprosthetic valve dates to last 6 years. I'll be now starting with this is the parasternal long axis view showing the bioprosthetic valve in the aortic position. It is a stented valve and a glimpse of the stents can be seen. This is the color Doppler study where we can see a wisp of aortic regurgitation, which is transvalvular. The aortic sinuses, STJ, and the ascending aorta are of normal dimension. This patient has a very prominent mitral annular calcification with a blob of calcium on the PML. The LV function is fine. Wisp of TR with no significant pulmonary artery hypertension. These are the relevant findings that have to be assessed with a prosthetic valve. This is the Sachs view, aortic Sachs view of the valve. Again, we can see the prosthetic valve, again a glimpse of the stents, and the valve doesn't seem to have any mass in its vicinity as well in the sewing ring. The color study. This is the assessment of both the mitral flow and the aortic flow. Trivial mitral regurgitation with a lamellar flow through the mitral valve with no obstruction. Similarly, in the aortic valve. This is the mitral inflow with an increased E by E prime depicting, and we did have an enlarged LA. So this patient has evidence of increased LA pressure. This is the aortic valve, a zoomed view. This is the Doppler study of the aortic valve, where we have the peak and the mean gradient being 15 and 9. So this is seems to be a normally functioning valve as shown by the gradients. The acceleration time is 97, which again is within a normal range. And after assessing the LVOT, tracing the LVOT PW Doppler, we got a DVI of 0.63, which implies that there is no obvious obstruction in the valve. This is the LV assessment, which is very important in these cases because a remnant LV dysfunction could persist even after the valve is replaced or could eventually occur. Incidentally, coronary angio was done at the same time and the patient did have a normal coronaries. We did a GLS, which is the average value is minus 13.1. So this was a patient who had a bioprosthetic valve which is functioning normally. So this is a patient who needs to be followed up regularly. just to assess any further aging process in the valve. In addition, the mitral valve needs to be followed up because there is an associated mitral valve lesion too in this patient. A 65-year-old gentleman, his present admission was because of advanced AV block and syncope, for which he received a pacemaker implantation. But his history actually dates back to beyond 2017. In 2017, he presented with again increasing dyspnea, and that when evaluated was a mixed valvular disease, mitral valve disease, which required a mitral valve replacement. He received a mechanical prosthetic valve. In addition, at that very time, he had a aortic valve involvement, which on the table was assessed not to be intervened at that point of time. His coronaries were evaluated then and subsequently in 2023, which turned out to be normal. This patient has been followed up, and over time, this patient has developed a decreasing LV or an increasingly impaired LV systolic dysfunction, and although his symptoms are not very profound. What really needs to be said at this juncture is that we all should go through the reports that are available to us, especially the post-operative gradients of all prosthetic valves, if they are available, so that we can compare them over time. This really helps, although most of the time we do not get these reports, but an attempt should be made to get them. And similarly, all the valve particulars should be available. That is an essential part of the evaluation of the patient. Comparison with the previous reports is an essential part. So I'll be proceeding with again a recently concluded study of this gentleman. The synopsis, as I said before, this is the parasternal long axis view, which shows a poorly functioning left ventricle with aortic valve involvement. You can see sclerosis or calcium deposits in the aortic valve and a restricted motion of the aortic valve. In addition, we have a mechanical prosthesis in the mitral position. The essential part is that we get a lot of reverberations during the assessment of a mechanical prosthesis. This not only impedes in the assessment of the valve, but in particular, if there is a regurgitation, be it the aortic valve or be it the mitral valve. So at times, as I'll be proceeding with the study, you have to keep changing and sweeping through the axis in order to get a view, especially when you assess mitral regurgitation. This is the view. If you see, in all compared to the other views, I have taken not a very absolutely conservative view, but a view which gave a good idea about the mitral regurgitation. The mitral regurgitation here is a lamellar flow and is transvalvular, central and transvalvular with no obvious paravalvular leak noted. Again, a repeat of the same with a tilt in the axis. You can see the leaflets clearly, and because you can even fiddle with the gain in order to decrease the shadows. This is the 4-chamber view. We have to see the valve in all available views possible in order to assess whether the leaflets are moving adequately, whether we have any mass in its vicinity, and then put color in each and every view so that we can assess any kind of paravalvular or transvalvular significant regurgitation. This is the short axis view. The LV systolic function is impaired. We'll be quantifying it later. This is the tricuspid regurgitation. The gradient is not significant. So we have this patient who doesn't have significant pulmonary artery hypertension. The RV function is fine, assessed by TAPSE. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, this patient had aortic valve involvement at that point that the surgery was done. Over time, the aortic valve calcification has increased and the aortic regurgitation has also increased, although when we quantify, there is no significant stenosis in this CW Doppler study, and the aortic regurgitation is, the ARPHT is 444 and the vena contracta is again 3 millimeters. But what I need to say here is that we have a patient who has a proximal prosthesis. All prosthetic valves are considered to be stenotic. So this, in addition to an impaired LV systolic function, can actually, any regurgitant lesion could be underestimated because of these two features. So a patient who has been developing a progressive LV dysfunction with a normal coronaries has to be assessed for a severe regurgitant lesion, whether we are missing out on it because of the other criteria, is a very important finding in this patient. Similarly, what is very important in the assessment of mitral valve prosthesis is basically the rhythm. Here it is a pace rhythm and we have a specific rate of 60, but the diastolic phase is very important because that is the phase of the mitral flow. So if we have tachycardia, the assessment again could be a problem. To assess the left atrium, which is enlarged, here we can see the leaflets moving. This is a very beautiful view with obviously significant shadowing, but you can see the leaflets moving. So the functioning of the valve as per 2D echocardiography seems to be adequate. Now we have assessed it with Doppler, and as it corroborates with our 2D findings, the mean PG here is 5.64, which is again, although this is a very, very normal mean gradient, but it is a good habit or a helpful habit to compare it with the preceding studies as well as the post-operative study. You can see the leaflets with no obvious mass. We have a lot of artifacts. You can never be sure, as it is a transthoracic echocardiography. That is the reason that transesophageal echocardiography, when there is a point of suspicion, is really indicated. This is the LV-GLS, which obviously is very reduced, is minus 5.9, and the ejection fraction according to the Simpson method is biplane method is 33%. So you can imagine such a low ejection fraction in addition to a proximal stenotic prosthetic valve, it could have its own implications in the assessment of aortic regurgitation. So in total, this is a mechanical prosthetic valve in a patient who's recently received a pacemaker implantation. So we have a fixed rate, fortunately, in this patient, which is which has aided in our assessment, because this patient predated did have atrial fibrillation with a fast ventricular rate. Right now we have a rate which helped us in the assessment of the valve. This patient in addition has a poor LV systolic function, which could be explained by a progressive change in the aortic valve and an aortic regurgitation, which could be just severe, and this patient now needs to be assessed whether an intervention as far as the aortic valve is concerned would solve the problem of his deteriorating LV function. Today we've dealt with prosthetic valves, both in aortic position and in mitral position, one bioprosthetic, the other one metallic or mechanical valve. At the risk of repeating myself, I would again insist on asking all your patients to get all their reports so that we can compare it from the post-operative period on to the last study. Because as the valve ages, an early detection of the aging, of significant aging process really helps in intervening or medically or surgically eventually at the earliest time before we have catastrophic events. So, in addition, we need to assess the concomitant findings like LV function and other valves, because we may have a very good functioning prosthetic valve in whatever position we've implanted it in, but the patient may be symptomatic or the patient may have deteriorating hemodynamic features. In these patients, it could be another valve that is involved, as I have shown you, the aortic valve in this case. So, in each and every study, in addition to the prosthetic valve, we need to assess all the other valves. That completes the study and helps in treating our patients.